Emily sat in her seat, trying to act normal. Her hands were shaking under the desk. The classroom was full. Students chatted, checked their data screens, and waited for the lesson to start. The teacher, a four-eyed alien named Professor Zor, stood at the front, writing formulas on the glass board. But Emily couldn't focus. She kept her eyes on Tharn. He sat across the room, quiet, calm, pretending nothing was wrong. But Emily knew the truth now. He was part of a secret group planning to take over the Galactic Academy, and maybe even the galaxy. K9 sat beside her, pretending to be in sleep mode. In reality, he was scanning everything around them. "Be ready," K9 whispered through her earpiece. "Something is coming." Emily gave the smallest nod. Suddenly, her cube, hidden in her bag, started to glow again. But this time, it didn't blink softly. It glowed red, fast, angry. Then the windows shattered. Boom! Glass flew everywhere. Students screamed. The walls shook as two flying drones smashed into the classroom from outside. They looked like spinning metal insects with red lights and laser arms. "Everyone down," shouted Professor Zor. Panic filled the room. Some students ran. Others hid behind desks. Emily stayed low. She looked up and saw Tharn standing now. Not afraid, not surprised. He was smiling. He pressed something on his wrist. The two drones stopped moving for a second, then turned toward Emily. "They're coming for you," K9 yelled, jumping in front of her. One of the drones fired. A blast of blue light hit K9, knocking him back. Sparks flew from his side. He wasn't destroyed, but he wasn't moving either. Emily's heart raced. She jumped up and ran. The drone chased her, shooting small blasts that hit the walls, burning holes in them. Students screamed as they crawled out of the room. Professor Zor tried to block the drone with a force field, but the drone shot through it like paper. Emily ran down the hallway. Behind her, the drone buzzed like a swarm of angry bees. She needed to hide, or fight, but she had no weapons. Then she remembered the cube. She pulled it from her bag and held it up. It flashed. Red, then white. The drone stopped in midair. It scanned the cube. Then, it backed off. Emily stared, breathing hard. What just happened? K9, damaged but walking again, came up behind her. The cube recognized your danger. It sent a signal to the drone. A code only you can activate. That means... Emily looked at him. "I can control them." K9 nodded. "Maybe. That's why they want you. You're the only one with this connection." Just then, the Academy alarm started blaring. "Warning. Unknown forces entering the Academy grounds." Outside, ships were landing. Not school ships. Dark gray fighters with no flags. Soldiers in black armor poured out, marching in formation. Emily ran to the window. This wasn't a small attack anymore. This was war. In the control room, the school's head commander, a blue-skinned alien with gold eyes, stood at the control screen. "We are under attack," he said to his officers. "Send all defense units. Lock down every building. And find the human girl. Now." But one of the officers didn't move. He smiled quietly and turned off his screen. Back with Emily. Emily and K9 rushed through the halls. Smoke filled the air. Students were being led out by security bots. But not all bots were working. Some had gone dark, their eyes red instead of green. They hacked the school systems, K9 said. They planned everything. Emily looked down at the cube again. "If I can control the drones, maybe I can stop them." They reached the old science lab, now empty and dusty. It had a strong metal door. They locked it behind them. K9 connected to the cube with a small cable. "I'll try to boost the signal," he said. "If you focus your thoughts, the cube may respond." Emily closed her eyes. She thought of peace. She thought of protection. And she thought of the students who had nothing to do with this war. The cube glowed white again. Outside, the two drones, still flying over the academy, stopped. Then, they turned and began to attack the enemy ships. It worked, K9 said. You just turned their weapons against them. Emily opened her eyes. Then we're not losing this academy without a fight. K9 scanned the map. But the main weapon they're building is still underground, and they're going to activate it soon. Emily looked at him. Then we go down there. K9's voice was calm. It's dangerous. She smiled. Good. That means we're getting close. The enemy had arrived early. Black robots dropped from the sky like falling stars. Their red eyes glowed. Their weapons were ready. But this time, the academy didn't run. They'd fought back. Ilara moved fast. She ran straight into the first wave of robots. Raltek shouted, "Wait." But it was too late. She was already in the air, spinning, kicking, dodging lasers. Her hands glowed with blue energy. She punched one robot in the chest. Boom! It exploded. Two more came from the side. She jumped, flipped over them, and slammed her elbow down. Metal cracked. Sparks flew. On the walls above, Yuna led the long-range shooters. "Target the joints," she yelled. The students took aim. ZAP, ZAP, ZAP. 3 robots fell. Yuna smiled. We can do this. Inside the academy, the tech team worked fast. We need more shields. One student shouted. Another typed fast on a glowing screen. I'm reprogramming the defense bots. Suddenly, small floating drones shot out from the walls and flew toward the battlefield. They fired mini-lasers at the enemy. Raltek stood with Team 1, gripping his laser knife. He wasn't as strong as Ilara, not as fast, not powerful, but he was brave. "Follow me," he shouted, leading a charge through the side gate. He and 5 others attacked a small group of robots from behind. They fought hard, cutting wires, flipping bots, smashing control panels. One robot aimed at Raltek's head. Zzzzt, boom. A laser hit the robot before it could fire. Ilara had covered him. He looked up at her and grinned. "You're fast." "You're crazy," she replied, smiling, "but good crazy." Suddenly, the ground shook. The students stopped. The sky turned red. One of the enemy ships opened wide. A new kind of robot dropped down, twice the size of the others. Heavy, black, silent. Its arms were like giant cannons. Its head had one glowing red eye. Yuna whispered, "That's a destroyer class." Raltek looked worried. "That thing's built to wipe out entire buildings." Ilara stared at it. "No fear. Just focus." The destroyer pointed at her. It spoke in a deep robotic voice. "Nemo va child. Surrender now." Ilara stepped forward. "No." She raised her hand, blue energy forming around her fingers. The robot fired. A massive red beam exploded toward her. She threw up a shield of energy. Boom! Dust and smoke flew everywhere. When it cleared, Ilara was still standing, but she was pushed back, her knees in the dirt. The robot fired again. This time, she didn't block. She dodged, fast as lightning. The beam tore a hole in the academy wall behind her. Ilara ran toward the robot. She leaped onto its arm and climbed to its shoulder. She smashed her glowing fist into its eye. Crack! But the robot grabbed her midair and slammed her to the ground. Boom! Raltek screamed, "Ilara!" She didn't move for a moment. Then slowly, she stood back up. Her arm was bleeding, her face dirty, but her eyes still glowed. "I'm not done yet." She called out, "Yuma, aim for the back of its leg." Yuma nodded. "Shooters, fire together. Now." ZAP, ZAP, ZAP. Laser blasts hit the robot's leg. It stumbled, Raltek and Dronix rushed in and attacked the joints. The destroyer turned to fire at them. Boom! A huge blast from above hit it in the chest. Ilara had climbed up again, now holding one of the Academy's defense cannons. She fired again. Boom! The robot fell back. Sparks. Fire. Smoke. It hit the ground hard. The students cheered, but Ilara didn't smile. She looked up at the sky. More ships were arriving. A new wave was coming. She spoke softly. This was just their first strike. Raltek walked up beside her. We won, right? We survived, she said, but the real war hasn't started yet. Inside the enemy ship, a tall shadow watched the battle on a screen. Impressive, the voice said. A second voice replied, she's stronger than we thought. Then send the next unit. The screen zoomed in on Ilara's face. She was made for war, but she has chosen to protect. That makes her dangerous. Back at the academy, the students helped the injured. Fires were put out. Robots were gathered and studied. The students had changed. They were no longer scared, no longer weak. They were ready to fight again. Ilara stood on the academy wall, staring into the stars. I will protect them, she said quietly. No matter what comes next. The countdown had begun. The enemy gave the academy 1 hour. 1 hour to surrender Ilara or face destruction. But instead of hiding, the students were training. And their teacher, the girl they once laughed at. Ilara stood in front of the group. Over 50 students, aliens from across the galaxy, looked at her. Some were scared, some angry, some still unsure. I know most of you don't trust me, Ilara said, her voice calm. And that's okay. You don't have to like me. But if we don't fight together, we'll all die. She raised her hand. A blue light flickered in her palm. This power, it wasn't given. It was forced into me. I hated it for years. But now, I'll use it to protect you. Raltek stepped beside her. And I'll fight too. Not because I have powers, but because I won't let anyone take my friend. Other students slowly stepped forward. Yuna, the green-eyed girl, lifted her staff. I'll train. One by one, they joined. Even the strongest alien student, Dronix, the same one who once mocked Ilara, stepped up and crossed his arms. I still don't like you, he said, but I'd rather fight beside you than beg the enemy for mercy. Ilara gave her first command. We don't have time for slow training. We must learn fast. This is survival. She divided the class into 4 teams. Team 1, close combat fighters. Team 2, long-range shooters. Team 3, tech and defense. Team 4, speed and scouts. She moved like a commander, sharp and focused. Everyone listened. Everyone followed. For the first time, the students saw who Ilara really was. A leader, a weapon, a protector. She trained them in ways no teacher ever had. Don't aim for the body, she told the fighters. Aim for weak points, joints, eyes, necks. To the shooters, don't shoot fast, shoot smart. 1 shot, 1 hit. To the tech team, build traps, build shields, slow them down. And to the scouts, stay low, stay quiet. Bring back every bit of information. Their numbers, their weapons, their plans. She taught them to fight without fear, to move in silence, to think like the enemy. Soon, they were improving. Dronix broke a training dummy in half. Yuna took down 3 targets with her staff. The tech team made shield drones from scrap parts. Even the smallest students learned to move quickly, to stay hidden, to strike when needed. But Ilara knew it still wasn't enough. The enemy was too strong, too many, too fast. That night, while others rested, Ilara stood alone in the waryard. Raltek found her looking up at the stars. You should rest, he said. I can't, she replied. You trained all day. You're the reason we're even standing. I'm also the reason they're coming, Ilara said quietly. If they get me, it's over. Raltek looked at her seriously. You don't have to do this alone. Ilara smiled a little. I'm not alone anymore. Back in the academy, the headmaster watched the training reports. These students are improving fast, one teacher said. Too fast, said another. She's changing them. The headmaster nodded. She's not just a fighter. She's a leader. But will it be enough? Someone asked. We'll find out soon, the headmaster said. The hour is almost over. Suddenly, the academy shook. Boom! An explosion near the outer wall. The enemy had started the attack early. Ilara heard the alarm and ran into action. Positions, she shouted. Everyone move. The students didn't freeze. They didn't scream. They followed. Fast, ready, focused. Dronex led Team 1 to the front gates. Yuna and the shooters took the high ground. The tech team activated shields and drones. The scouts ran into the shadows, watching for enemy movement. Ilara stood in the center, her eyes glowing faint blue. The sky was full of enemy ships. Black robots dropped from the clouds like metal rain. One robot landed in front of her. It spoke, surrender, or be destroyed. Ilara stared at it, calm and cold. Then she whispered, come and try. She raised her hand. A blast of blue energy shot out, blasting the robot into pieces. Behind her, the students cheered. They weren't afraid anymore. They were ready. And this time, they weren't just students. They were soldiers. The academy lights went dark. The big screen turned red. A voice echoed through every room. We do not want the school. We do not want the students. We want her. Everyone turned toward the screen. They all knew who she was. Ilara stood in the center of the battle yard, her clothes torn, her hands glowing faint blue. Her face showed no fear. Inside the school, students stared at her through the windows. They no longer laughed at the human girl. Now they were afraid. Raltek stood beside her, breathing hard. He looked up at the red message on the sky screen. They came for you, he said. Ilara nodded slowly. I knew they would. Why? He asked. What are you to them? She didn't answer. Not yet. In the control room, the headmaster slammed his hand on the table. Why would the enemy cross galaxies for one girl? Who is she? A teacher pulled up her records. There's almost nothing here, he said. No real past, no family data, no Earth school history. She's a ghost, another teacher said. The headmaster stared at the glowing screen. She's more than a ghost. She's bait. A key or a weapon. Outside, the enemy ships hovered like dark clouds. Hundreds of them. Too many. A loud voice came from the largest ship. Surrender, Ilara, or we destroy everything. Raltek looked at Ilara. Is this true? They want you that badly. Yes, she said quietly. Because I was once theirs. The students inside the academy began to panic. This is her fault. She brought them here. They'll kill us because of her. Some students started yelling. Others ran to the escape pods. The teachers shouted for calm. Yuna, a quiet alien girl with green eyes, stood up and shouted, Stop. She just saved us. If she wasn't here, we'd all be dead already. But her voice was drowned by fear. Ilara looked at Raltek. I should leave. What? He asked. If I go to them, they might leave this place alone. Raltek grabbed her shoulder. No, you're not going anywhere. I don't want anyone to die because of me, Ilara said. But if you go, he said, they'll use you. You said it yourself. You were made for something. Ilara looked away. They called me Nova Child. They took children from destroyed planets, added alien DNA to them, trained them to be perfect soldiers. You escaped? I destroyed the lab that made me, she said, or I thought I did. The enemy voice came again. You have 1 hour to decide. Give us Ilara, or we attack. The sky went quiet. In the academy, the headmaster called for a meeting with the top students and teachers. We need to make a decision, he said. If we give her to them, maybe we can save the rest. No, Raltek said firmly. That's not right. We don't give up someone who saved us. She's dangerous. Another student shouted. So are the enemies outside, Raltek replied. But she's on our side. Ilara walked into the room. You don't have to fight for me, she said. I can handle this alone. No, the headmaster said, standing. If you leave, you die. If we fight, we all might die. Then train them, Ilara said. Train them to survive. I'll teach them how to fight like me. The room went silent. Raltek smiled. You're going to train the class. Yes, she said. If they want to live, they need to learn. Fast. The academy halls changed. The classroom became a war room. The training ground turned into a battlefield. Ilara stood before the students. I won't lie to you, she said. This war is not fair. These enemies are older, smarter, and stronger. But they don't know how humans fight. They don't know how you can fight. I will teach you everything. The students looked at her, nervous but curious. Why should we trust you? One asked. Because I don't want to see you die, she answered. And somehow, they believed her. Outside, the enemy ships waited in silence. Inside, Ilara began training the next generation of warriors. They thought she was just a human student. Now they would learn she was something far more dangerous. Emily followed the whispers in the hallway and found a door that was never there before. Emily couldn't sleep. The black cube sat on her desk, glowing softly. Its light pulsed like a heartbeat. Her mind raced with questions. Why her? What did they mean by the key? And how many students at the academy were part of this secret plan? K9 stayed close, standing by the window, scanning for danger. They're hiding something big, Emily whispered. And we still don't know who they really are. K9 nodded. We must find more proof. If we show the academy leaders, maybe they will believe us. But what if the leaders are part of it too? Emily asked. Before K9 could answer, he raised his hand. Quiet, he said. I hear something. Emily listened. Whispers. Voices in the hallway. Soft, low, speaking in the same old war language from the cube. They got louder, then stopped. Emily opened the door carefully and peeked out. The hallway was empty. But the wall to her left was glowing. A soft red light shaped like a circle. That wall wasn't glowing before, Emily said. K9 scanned it. There is a hidden door here. It was locked before, but now it is open. Emily touched the glowing circle. The wall slid open. Behind it was a small dark tunnel. Cold air blew from inside. Without a word, Emily and K9 stepped in. The door closed behind them. They walked slowly. The tunnel was narrow, with wires on the walls and blinking lights. The floor shook slightly, like machines were moving far below. After 5 minutes, they reached a strange room. It looked like a meeting space. A round table stood in the center, and 10 chairs surrounded it. On the wall, there was a large map showing the academy, the planet, and something else, a red dot deep underground. K9 stared at the map. That red dot, it's not marked on any school file. Emily looked closer. Is that a weapon? Suddenly, voices came from the hallway behind them. Hide, Emily whispered. They slipped behind a large metal box and stayed quiet. A group of students entered. Emily recognized some of them, including Tharn. He was with 5 others. All were from different alien races, but they walked together like soldiers. One of them placed a silver disc on the table. A blue light came out of it, showing a 3D image of the academy and the area under it. This is the final plan, Tharn said. The weapon is almost ready. Once we control the academy, the rest of the galaxy will follow. Emily's heart beat faster. Another student asked. And the girl? The human. Farn's face turned serious. She is the key. Without her DNA, we can't activate the weapon. But she's getting too close. We need to capture her soon. Emily looked at K9. He nodded silently. We must get out, he whispered. But just as they turned to leave, Emily's foot bumped a small metal tool on the floor. It rolled and hit the wall with a loud clang. Farn's eyes turned sharply. Who's there? Emily and K9 ran. Stop them, someone shouted. The hidden door opened ahead. They dashed through it and kept running. The hallway lights flashed red. Alarms started to ring. As they ran, K9 dropped small noise bombs to confuse the followers. The explosions were soft but loud enough to slow them down. Finally, they reached a ladder and climbed up to a service hatch. It opened near the old storage room above the gym. Emily fell to the ground, out of breath. They were meeting in secret, planning everything. K9 closed the hatch. Now we have proof. Emily nodded. But they're coming for me. They know I heard everything. What will you do now? K9 asked. Emily stood up. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were strong. I'm done running, she said. If they want a war, I'll be ready. K9's eyes flashed. Then we must warn others. But be careful. We don't know who we can trust. Emily looked out the window. Ships moved in the sky, just above the academy. Some were from the school, but others were not. Something big was coming, and she was right in the middle of it. The galaxy thought it had forgotten her. But the truth would not stay hidden forever. Emily's ship moved through the stars, a small dot in the vast, dark sky. She looked at the map K9 had found, now shining brightly on her screen. It showed more planets, more locations, more secrets to uncover. The galaxy was a big place, full of mysteries. Some were hidden, some were lost, and some had the power to change everything. K9 sat beside her, scanning the map. The next location is a small moon. No one lives there, but the signal is strong. Emily nodded. Let's go. They had no plan, no guide, but Emily wasn't afraid. She had come to the academy to study, to learn. But now she was doing something bigger. She was searching for the truth. The kind of truth that could save or destroy entire worlds. As the ship flew through space, Emily thought about everything she had left behind. The academy, the lies, the people who didn't believe in her. But none of that mattered now. She looked out the window at the stars. I didn't do it for medals or thank yous, she whispered. I did it because it was right. On the moon. The ship landed softly on the moon's dusty surface. It was quiet. No signs of life, just the wind carrying dust in the air. Emily and K9 stepped out. They walked toward a strange, tall structure in the distance. It looked ancient, like something from another time. The entrance was hidden under rocks and sand, but Emily knew exactly where to go. The cube in her bag pulsed softly, guiding her. They reached the door. It opened slowly, revealing a dark, empty room. The walls were covered with strange symbols. Some looked like the ones on the cube. Others were too old to understand. K9 scanned the area. There's something here. Emily walked to the center of the room, where a large pedestal stood. The pedestal had a slot in the middle, the perfect size for the cube. She took the cube out of her bag and placed it on the pedestal. It glowed. A soft hum filled the room. The symbols on the walls lit up, one by one, like stars coming to life. Suddenly, the floor shook. A hidden door opened beneath them, leading to another level, deeper, farther down. K9's voice was steady. This is it, the final place. Emily took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness. Deep below the moon. They descended through narrow, winding corridors. The air was thick with dust, and the walls were lined with ancient technology. At the end of the path, they found a large chamber. It was empty except for a single object in the center, a large crystal, glowing softly. The moment Emily stepped closer, the crystal began to hum. "This is it," K9 said. "The heart of it all. The source of the power." Emily's fingers brushed against the crystal. It was warm, alive. And then, in her mind, she heard a voice, not loud, but clear. "You have found the truth. The galaxy is watching." The voice paused, then continued. "The weapon you stopped was only one part. There are many like it, many more secrets waiting to be uncovered. But you are the key, the one who will keep the galaxy safe." Emily's heart raced. "What do I have to do?" The voice was calm. "Continue the journey, find the rest, and protect the truth. You are the guardian now." The crystal's light faded, and the voice went silent. The room grew still. K9 stepped forward. "You are not alone in this, Emily. There are many who believe in you." Emily looked at the crystal one last time. She didn't need to say more. She understood now. She wasn't just a student. She wasn't just a girl from Earth. She was a protector of the galaxy. Back at the academy, months passed, but Emily's name never appeared in the news. The leaders of the academy continued to spread their lies, hiding the truth from the public. Tharn went back to his life, pretending to be a hero. But in the quiet corners of the galaxy, things began to change. On distant planets, in secret meetings, whispers spread. A girl from Earth had stopped a war. She had destroyed a weapon that could end everything. She had saved them all. Emily's name began to grow, not on medals or in the halls of the academy, but in the hearts of those who knew the truth. The final message. One day, a small hologram appeared in front of Emily's ship. It was a message. "To the human girl who saved us, the galaxy thanks you." Emily smiled. She didn't need a medal. She didn't need to be famous. She had done what was right. And that was enough. The sky above Nova Star Academy was always dark, filled with stars and flying ships. The school floated in space, far from any planet. It was a place where alien students from many worlds came to study science, space travel, and war strategy. Everyone there was special, strong, fast, or smart. But today, something new was happening. A human girl arrived. Her name was Ilara. She stepped out of a small Earth shuttle and walked into the academy. She had brown hair, light skin, and soft eyes. She looked weak, small, slow. The other students stared at her. Some laughed. "Is she lost?" One blue-skinned alien whispered. "She looks like she came from a farm," said another. But Ilara said nothing. She walked quietly through the halls, her eyes watching everything. Her footsteps were calm. Too calm. No one knew who she really was. Her first class was Galactic History. She sat at the back. The teacher, a tall being with metal arms, spoke in a deep voice. "Today we will learn about the human war, the time when Earth almost destroyed itself." The class laughed. Everyone thought humans were weak and foolish. They fought each other too much, made too many mistakes, and used old technology. Most aliens believed humans could never survive space on their own. Ilara stayed silent. She listened. She never smiled. "Do you have anything to say, human?" the teacher asked. Ilara looked up. "No, sir." The teacher nodded. "Good. Maybe you'll learn something here." The class laughed again. Later, in the training room, students practiced hand-to-hand combat. They punched, kicked, and jumped with alien strength and speed. Ilara just stood and watched, afraid to fight. "Earth girl?" a big green alien asked. His name was Dronex. He was twice her size. Ilara shrugged. "Just watching." "You'll never survive here like that," he said, stepping close. But before he could touch her, the ground suddenly shook. Boom! Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across the room. "Alert! Enemy ship detected," the voice shouted. "All students to safety. This is not a drill. Everyone panicked. Some ran. Some screamed. The teachers shouted commands. But Ilara did not move. She looked up at the sky window. Outside, a giant black warship hovered above the school. It was not a training ship. It was real, dangerous, silent. The academy's defense shields started to rise, but then failed. The lights flickered. Something was wrong. Ilara took a step forward. In the hallway, students pushed and tripped trying to get to the safe zone. Raltek, a silver-scaled student with sharp eyes, stopped when he saw Ilara standing still. "What are you doing?" "Come on," he said. Ilara turned to him. Her eyes flashed gold for just a second. Raltek froze. "What are you?" he whispered. Ilara looked up. "I'm just a student," she said softly. "Just like you." But something in her voice felt strange, calm, cold. Suddenly, a loud crash hit the outer wall. Part of the academy shook. The enemy ship had landed. Doors opened. Black robots with red lights marched out. The academy had no time to prepare. The teachers were still inside. The students were untrained. The robots moved fast toward the entrance. Then Ilara walked forward, alone. Raltek grabbed her arm. "You can't go out there." She looked at him. "Yes, I can." She pulled away and stepped outside. The air was filled with smoke and heat. The robots pointed their weapons at her. One fired. The laser moved through the air, but stopped just before it hit Ilara. Everyone watching on the screens froze. The laser hung in the air, like time had stopped. Ilara raised her hand. The laser turned and flew back toward the robot, blasting it into pieces. The other robots backed away. Students inside the academy watched from screens in shock. "She's not human," someone whispered. "What is she?" another said. Inside the command room, the headmaster stared at her face. "This girl, she's not on any list. No records, no ID. She just appeared 2 weeks ago. From Earth." The teacher from earlier stepped forward. "Then Earth has been hiding something." Outside, Ilara stood alone in front of the robots. Her hair moved in the wind. Her face was calm. She looked at the sky. More ships were coming. She spoke softly to herself. "It's starting."